Hello, this is Robert Breedlove. This is my problem of practice testing video going over my testing phase of my development. My problem of practice in CEP 817 is the amount of tests and quizzes that we give our students every day. We typically do is give a pre-test. I have a Google Doc set up here on my portfolio, and the way our school has it set up is we have a 4-point system. We're using standards-based grading. A 1 would be extremely inconsistent. They don't get anything at all. A 2 is generally inconsistent. A 3 is at grade level, and a 4 would be above grade level. And so we have several problems here that are at grade level, and typically one problem, like this one here, that is above grade level. So with all questions correct, they would get a 4. If they had all the questions correct and missed number 8 here, they would get a 3. If they missed most of the questions, then they would be inconsistent and they would get a 2. And if they missed all of them, then in this case they would get a 1. So we would give our pretest, and then we'd give one quiz. Here's an example of that. Second quiz, and then we give our test. Sometimes we do give additional quizzes depending on where the students are at. The test is always the same thing as the pretest, but as you can see, with just one standard, and we're teaching several standards throughout the school year, then these tests add up very quickly, tests and quizzes. For my test, I decided to cut down the amount of tests, the amount of questions, and use questions that can be answered in multiple parts. So here's an example of that. For my problem of practice testing, I held a focus group with my colleagues, and I was pretty surprised with the answers. I showed them my prototype, like I just showed you, and got their feedback. Learning is not on a predetermined timeline. That just means that students can't be put on a timeline. You can't give them a certain amount of time to learn something. Some students take a little bit longer. Some students don't take as much time. Giving practice problems that are similar to the test, just giving them lots of practice. I use a sports analogy here, practice like you play. You're going to want to get your students to practice all the time. And then the thing that was the most thought-provoking for me was, why do we call them quizzes? So we give 2 quizzes in a standard and then a test, but if we didn't call those quizzes, if we just called them practice, would the students be as overwhelmed? Then we would simply be pre-testing and post-testing, and then we wouldn't have as much in the middle. I know some people think that we shouldn't do the pre-test because they may not know the information, but several times in my practice I've seen students that know the information, they got it from a different source, and then that tells me that they don't really need the information that I'm going to give them. They need to be pushed a little bit further. So I think it's definitely something that we need to continue to work on, but there's definitely a couple things that we can try out in the classroom to get things on the right page. Thank you for watching.